Hi, my wonderful sweet babies. It's Troyce, and you're listening to Time Out with Troyce. Now, today on this episode's podcast, I want to come on here and address Mr. Boozy Boo, Mr. Boozy Badass, aka Little Boozy. Little Boozy basically decided to give his input about Dwayne Wade's son, who is now daughter. Now, here's a quick backstory if you guys didn't know. Dwayne Wade, his son, Zion, now wants to be referred to as Zaya. If you guys didn't know, last year, Zion came out as publicly gay. He doesn't even have social media, but he came out as gay because, if you guys didn't know, Gabrielle Union decided to take the whole family to Pride. Because the way Gabrielle Union is, she's such an amazing person to the point where she straight up says that when she straight up means equality and representation, she means it. So instead of making her son feel left out and making her son feel isolated in the world, she wants to take her whole family and her son, who was gay at the time, Zion, to Pride. She took him to Pride last year, and the whole world went up in flames. And of course, you know, the Shade Room and a whole bunch of other black blogs, a whole bunch of dangerous blogs that are dangerous to the culture, and the Breakfast Club decided to report on it in outrage. Because, you know, to a lot of people, they were just like, that's disgusting. Why is an 11-year-old at Pride? Oh my God, that's like the worst thing ever. Why is he at Pride?
There's a lot of lewd stuff going on that, you know, stuff that in a normal situation and circumstance would be illegal.
I don't fucking know. But a pride parade is no place for your child. Now, I know you want a virtue signal and Gabrielle Union. Gun to my head, I couldn't name a good movie that bitch has been in. Pride parades are a bunch of dudes, half naked, with their dicks out. All you.
I'm going to support whatever my child do. If my child want to be a gay dude, then he can be gay. If my child want to have sex with another man and he's a boy, so he can. Horrible. Y'all so perverted, nasty, evil, and twisted.
And long story short, a lot of people made a lot of assumptions about the things that Zion possibly saw. Like, oh, he's 11 years old. He shouldn't be at Pride. At the end of the day, people are out here getting naked. And let's be very clear. If you've never been to Pride, I don't think it's safe to make your judgment based off of what you heard and what you see on television. Let's be very clear, because when y'all say stuff like that, oh, I've seen stuff on the internet, I've seen stuff on TV about Pride. Yeah, when you say shit like that, you kind of sound like racist white people. You kind of sound like crackers when you guys say, oh my God, I've seen, like, you guys, like, you know how white people be like, oh my God, I've seen black people on TV. They're the ones who are more than likely to commit crimes. Like, you see where I'm coming from here? So you guys kind of have to have a valuable explanation on why you guys didn't like the fact that Zion went to Pride. But anyway, that's besides the point. Fast forward to now, Dwayne Wade did an interview a couple of weeks ago, I'll say last month, with Matt Barnes and another NBA player on their podcast. Now, on this podcast, Dwayne Wade decided that he now refers to his daughter as she. This is where it all started.
Me and my wife, you know, we talk about making sure our kids, you know, understand that they're, you know, the power in their voice. You know, we want them to be whoever they feel that they can be in this world. Like, that's our goal, you know. And
after that, the Shade Room and all these other dangerous blogs decided to post that. And this is where everybody in the entire world decided to release their, you know, underlying transphobia. A lot of people said, ew, like, what the fuck? I don't care. My son ain't wearing no skirt. I don't give a fuck. Why you want your son to wear a dress? Don't call her she. That is a boy. And a whole bunch of extra shit. Now, let me be very clear. Just because you don't accept the trans community or the gay community, that doesn't mean that you're transphobic or homophobic. In fact, it means that you're ignorant. And let me just tell you why you're ignorant. You're probably ignorant to the fact that the book that a lot of you guys worship so much that tells you these things are wrong was written 4,000 years ago. And a lot of you guys who are against it are obviously not educated about it. Because let me elaborate a little bit. I noticed that a lot of people have a problem with Zaya. I'm not gonna call him Zion anymore. I'm gonna call her Zaya, because that's what she wants to be referred to as. I noticed that a lot of people want Zaya to be seen as a boy because, you know, she was biologically born a boy, and I don't agree with the fact that Dwayne Wade, and a lot of people also feel like Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are exploiting this child. And a lot of people have some way somehow shifted it into Gabrielle Union. Like, I hate Gabrielle Union hate train, because if you guys didn't know, Zaya is not Gabrielle Union's child. In fact, Zaya is a child from Dwayne Wade's previous relationship. So a lot of people are just like, oh no, Gabrielle Union is polluting his mind, so on and so forth. And I'm just like, okay, look, you guys got to remember Gabrielle has been with Dwayne Wade for damn near 10 years. So she's basically raised Zaya since she was 3, since she was 2 years old. So at the end of the day, you guys have to be understanding of the fact that this is somebody who raised, this is basically his mom. Like, he literally calls Gabrielle Union mom. Now, let me get to what's going on today. So yes, you guys get the gist. Dwayne Wade's son is now his daughter, and she now refers to herself as Zaya. Now, long story short, a lot of this started to turn into mass media because, if you guys didn't know, Boosie 3 days ago was trending on Twitter. And guess what? The washed up rapper's music was not trending because of his music. He was trending because for some reason he thinks he's an activist, and he decides to go on Twitter and Instagram to voice his thoughts on Dwayne Wade's son, who's now his daughter.
I gotta say something about this shit, bro. Dwayne Wade, you gone too fucking far, dog. That is a male, a 12-year-old. At 12, they don't even know what their next meal gonna be. They don't have shit figured out yet. He might meet a woman, anything, at 16 and fall in love with her. But his dick be gone. How you gonna... Like, bro, you going too far, dog. Don't cut his dick off, bro. Like, bro, for real. If he gonna be gay, let him be gay. But don't cut his dick off, bro. Like, don't address him as a woman, dog. He's 12 years old. He's not up there yet. He hasn't made his final decisions yet. Don't cut his fucking dick off, Dwayne Wade, bro. You fucking tripping, dog. You tripping, dog. You tripping, dog.
Basically, you guys see what Boosie Boo had to say, what Boosie Badass had to say. Now, any of you guys who know anything about Boosie, and you guys who grew up in the South, you guys know Boosie gets a lot of respect because, you know, he was a one-hit wonder, a two-hit wonder who had a promising career, but unfortunately, he threw his life away back in 2011 when he decided to, you know, do a whole bunch of fuck shit, and he was in jail for like 7-8 years, and he got out back in 2016, and, you know, Boosie's out here, you know, trying to be an activist now because obviously his music isn't selling anymore. You know, obviously the washed up, crusty looking rapper now wants to be an activist because ever since he called out Gayle King, y'all made him an activist. You know, he called out Gayle King, the whole world. Oh my God, Boosie's a real one. He's a real one. And now all of a sudden he gives his opinion on Dwayne Wade's son, and the whole world is like up in flames. You know, the whole world is so openly agreeing with him, and the whole world is dragging him. Now, this is what I gotta say. I'm not surprised what comes out of Boosie's mouth. I've been knew little Boosie Boo wasn't shit because if you guys didn't know, Boosie Boo has some very problematic things in his past. In fact, he's so worried about Zaya, but he's not worried about his own 8 children from 8 different baby mamas. Yes, let that sink in. 8 children from 8 different baby mamas, but yet he's worried about Zaya. Now, also, I want to speak on the fact that he's like, oh my God, leave his dick alone. Don't cut off his dick. First of all, let's make something very clear. Zaya is 12 years old. The family has not once said anything about bottom surgery. In fact, if you guys didn't know, you can't even get surgery. You can't even replace your genitals until you're 18. See, this is the problem with a lot of the people who are on Boosie's side and Team Boosie and Team This World So Sensitive. A lot of you guys don't realize that the way the world is set up, a lot of people don't like to fucking read. You know, a wise man, aka Chris Rock, once said, if you want to hide something from a person, especially a black person, put it in a book. And a lot of people don't care enough to read and look up on things. You see Mr. Boosie Badass, his dumb, ignorant ass, decided to spew that poison out into the atmosphere. And believe it or not, a lot of celebrities were commenting under it, agreeing with him, like Lil Scrappy and so many other rappers. Even Young Thug put out a tweet saying, in my opinion, I think Dwayne Wade is wrong for what he did to his son. Like, okay, I wasn't aware that the way people raise their kids was based upon social media's opinion. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation and a whole other podcast a lot of people aren't ready for it. But anyways, so Boosie Boo put that poison out into the atmosphere without even realizing the validity and danger that he was doing. You spilled that poison out into the world without doing your research. See, you should have did your research. And this is my problem with a lot of people who don't read. A lot of people don't realize headlines are dangerous. That's why every time I see a crazy headline, I'll always look into it. I read the description. I read every time if the Shade Room posts something or any blog posts something. I read the description. I'll go to their website if I want to look onto it, but I don't speak on things without fully researching. You spill that poison out into the world, and now you have a whole bunch of people thinking that Zion is getting a sex change at 12 years old when that wasn't the case. In fact, hormonal pills and transitioning pills are a very long process. A lot of people are saying, oh no, if your kid wants to be a dragon, are you going to tell him yes? A lot of you guys don't realize this, but when it comes to trans people, they go through a lot of therapy. They're not just, oh my God, I'm trans. Like, they don't just wake up one day and say, I want to be Batman. I want to be a chicken nugget. I want to be an M&M. Like, no. Like, this is a mental thing that a lot of people don't even realize and will never go through. Even I will never understand what was going on through a transgender person's mind or head. We'll never know. Like, it's a sense of being isolated. It's a sense of feeling different, feeling like you don't feel comfortable in your body. We don't know how that pain feels. So I think it's a little bit disgusting for people to say, oh, he's a kid. How does he know what sexuality is? Now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people out there are going to disagree, be like, hey, I don't agree with you. Hey, if you drag me, go in on me, email me, comment, whatever you got to say, I'm here for the fuck shit. I'm here for it. I want to hear what y'all got to say. At the end of the day, we're all going to have a difference of opinions. But even if you drag me, it's all good because this is my opinion. This is what I got to say. It's funny how a lot of the world loves to say, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. And I know I love how a lot of people love to bring up the Bible. Like, oh, the Bible says this or God says this. You know, no offense to a lot of religions out there, but believe it or not, you know, homosexuality, you know, being transgender, you know, anything involving LGBTQ, a lot of it basically is shunned upon in most religions. It's shunned upon. It's frowned upon in most religions, you know, in the Muslim religion, the Christianity, Catholic religion, all that. Now, let's be very clear. Everyone that wants to use the excuse of, well, God said this or God said that or the Bible says that, I have an honest question for y'all. Who wrote that shit? Honest question. Because you're going to have to explain to me why you have a problem with this and your religion is speaking for you. That's the problem. A lot of people don't know how to speak for themselves. I feel like people have to speak for themselves. Stop speaking on the perspective of a book. Did you guys know that the book also condones misogyny? It condones the fact that women aren't equal to men. It literally promotes the fact that men are greater at doing other things than women have. Like, it promotes the fact that women should be submissive, should be in the kitchen, should be literally working regular ass home jobs, and the men should be the breadwinner. It promotes so much misogyny and gender roles, and a lot of y'all don't realize that. Now, here's the thing. You're going to have to explain to me why this book speaks so much volumes to you as far as like why you want to critique and tear down this young black now woman, Zaya. Explain. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand some people are going to say, look, it has nothing to do with religion. I think he's too young. And I respect that. Some of y'all think he's too young to transition. Some of y'all think he's too young to have these pills. But did you guys know that transgender people are also going through a whole bunch of therapy? A ton of underlying therapy that speaks to them about, like, how do you feel? Why do you feel this way? How long have you felt this way? Tell me about your experience. Like, they're literally talking to therapists. They're going through therapy. It's a very long process for them to be able to transition it. It's not just you wake up one day and say, I want to be a nigga. I want to be a bitch. Like, it just doesn't work like that. Like, you guys have to understand this is a very long process. Y'all think people go to the hospital one day. Y'all are so used to seeing bitches on Instagram getting like cube-shaped asses and shit. Y'all are so used to bitches on Instagram getting fucking big ass Oompa Loompa titties that you guys don't understand that when it comes to transitioning, it's not as easy as just going to get cosmetic surgery. It's just not that simple. Transitioning is a very long process, and believe it or not, yes, a lot of people do regret transitioning. Yes, that's true. If you watch documentaries, people do change their minds, but a lot of people don't change their minds. You know, Nikki Tutorials is a good example. If you didn't know, she started transitioning when she was, I believe, 7. And that's hella fucking young, and I don't think it's safe for young people to transition. But at the same time, I feel like we should just let Dwayne Wade love his son unconditionally. I find it funny how everybody's so ready to release their underlying transphobia, because I've seen so many commentators and so many people on YouTube say that they don't stand with this for the simple fact that they think it's disgusting that a young 12-year-old wants to be a woman.
LGBTQ community is the Trojan horse for pedophilia. And I was right. All these years I was right. Because if you could feel like you a woman and you a man, why you can't feel like you a kid and you an adult? So you got pedophiles out here motherfucking using trans ageism as an excuse to be attracted to little kids. Look it up. This is a fact.
Oh, these motherfuckers is tripping. Now, I see everybody talking about this, but I don't see nobody saying what really needs to be fucking said. So listen up. Now, first things first. This is a 12-year-old boy. 12. He probably doesn't even order his food when they go out to eat. He probably changes what he wants to be when he gets older every 5 seconds. He might not even be into girls yet, if that's what he gonna be into. My point is, he is not old enough or mature enough to decide whether he wants to switch genders or not. That is a life-changing decision. He hasn't even experienced manhood yet. And you telling me he's ready to be a woman? If my son would have woke up to me and say that shit, I'm not taking no bullshit ass excuse like, I want to live my truth. No, little nigga, you need to live your life as a boy, because that's what the fuck you are.
Boundaries cannot allow children to do what they want to do. And if your 3-year-old or 4-year-old baby, they love candy, but you wouldn't give them candy for breakfast, right? Mm-hmm. You give them what they're supposed to have for breakfast. But if it was up to them, they would eat Skittles and candy for breakfast every morning and for lunch and for dinner. As a parent, you have to make a decision that this is not good for you right here. And when you get old enough to buy your own candy and pay your own rent, you can eat it. And I still love you and support you.
And a lot of people are saying, I hate when the media pushes sexuality on children. I hate when the media pushes, oh, this is an agenda. Now, let me just be very clear. Representation matters. So Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union obviously are, open and public about this because they want young people out there and even parents out there to understand that it's okay to have a child that's in the LGBTQIA plus community.
Zaya early on knew 2 things. She knew straight and she knew gay. Mm-hmm. But Zaya started doing more research. She was the one who sat down with us as a family and said, hey, I don't think I'm gay. And she went down the list and said, this is how I identify myself. This is my gender identity, right? I identify myself as a young lady. I think I'm a straight trans because I like boys. So it was a process for us to sit down with our daughter and find out who she is and what she likes and not put something on her, because as parents, we put our hopes and we put our fears on our kids. Right. And
because it's normal. Like, a lot of people acting like this is the media. No, it's not the media. Y'all don't realize that if you go back in history, like I said, read a fucking book. A lot of y'all don't read books. A lot of y'all out there don't read books who are upset about this. Read a book. Being transgender has been around since like the 1940s. This ain't nothing new. It's been around for a very long time. It's just now social media has been a platform where everything is so pow in your face. So that's why you got all these men who are pushing their toxic masculinity, giving their opinions, saying, oh my God, and you got all these people who are pro-religion judging these people who are pro-Christianity, pro-whatever religion, judging and giving their opinion on this shit and saying, oh, well, it's not God's way and, you should say no to your children. Like, it's just like, look, if Dwayne Wade wants to let his son make his own decision, I respect that. At the same time, I do understand people are coming from. Yes, is he young? He's hella fucking young. At 12 years old, you don't even know who you are yet. But best believe when you're at a young age, you more than likely know your sexuality. And I find it funny how a lot of people say, well, he's too young to know what sexuality is or know what sexuality is. Well, let me ask you guys an honest question. When we were kids, when we were 5th, 4th, 6th, 7th grade, did people not have boyfriends and girlfriends? Some of y'all who were 10, 11, so some of y'all when y'all were Zion's age, Zaya's age, did y'all not have boyfriends and girlfriends? Did y'all not know people who were having sex? Believe it or not, when I was in school, when I was Zaya's age, when I was 12, a lot of people were having sex. A girl damn near got pregnant at 14 in the 8th grade. People were having sex. People were fucking in stairwells. I knew people who were doing hand jobs in classrooms in middle school. This is a very hypersexualized world. And y'all gotta be real. Keep that same motherfucking energy when y'all say, oh, they're pushing us on our kids. Well, they push sexuality on kids in general. Y'all don't realize this, but y'all ever pay close attention to a lot of SpongeBob? Like, SpongeBob literally promotes a whole bunch of sexual jokes. SpongeBob has said some real problematic shit, and watching SpongeBob now as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is kind of gross. Like, there's a lot of sex jokes in general. Now, a lot of you guys don't have a problem with it, and a lot of you guys don't have a problem with your kids watching SpongeBob despite the sex jokes, because you're just like, a lot of the kids don't understand it. It's whatever. My kid might ask about it, but it's whatever. But a lot of you guys don't realize this. Straightness is being pushed on children in general. What about the fact that fucking Shrek and Fiona, ugly ass, are out here kissing, French kissing, for more than 5 seconds? What about the fact that you got shows where they're showing the mom and dad in bed cuddling and shit, and some of these are kid shows? Like, you guys don't understand this. Like people only have a problem with sexuality being pushed on children when it's not straight. If it's anything other than straight, y'all have a problem with sexuality being pushed on children. Y'all are gonna have to explain why y'all have a problem with this and keep the same energy. Do y'all really genuinely have a problem with sexuality being pushed on children, or do you just simply don't like the fact that something that's LGBTQIA plus being pushed on? Like you're gonna have to be more specific, because if you're homophobic, you're gonna have to just admit it. If you're transphobic, you're gonna have to admit it. And Boozy has said a lot of fucked up things, and I know a lot of people are gonna say Boozy ain't no homophobe, Boozy ain't no transphobe. Well, if you guys didn't know, a couple of years ago, Boozy said some really insane shit where basically he talked about one of his experiences in jail. And if you guys didn't know, Boozy literally talked about his experience walking in on his cellmates having sex. And this is what he said.
I remember I was in Angola. I walked down on a nigga riding a nigga dick from the back. That nigga had a nigga ankles riding that bitch from the back, man. I ain't know about the cocaine in the shower, you heard? Nigga ain't even tell me. I walked straight in 6 in the morning. Nigga riding that dick. I say, man, I wanna go home, man. Fuck that, man. I say, man, I wanna go home, man. I got to calling lawyers for all kind of bun. Man, give me a motherfucking bun, man. That shit fucked my head up. Another nigga riding a nigga dick, man. Taking that bitch. I'm talking about riding a nigga dick. That shit. Nigga say, damn, youngster. I say, my bad, man. Yeah, I ain't know, man. Fucking the shit out that nigga in that bitch. I was like, man, this shit. I was like, this ain't no place for no motherfucking human being, bro. When I saw that shit, OG, I'm like, these niggas sick, man. You a nasty motherfucker, man. You a nasty motherfucker. You heard me?
Damn, first day out.
You a nasty motherfucker.
You ready to go. The first day
Yeah, you nasty ass nigga. Same nigga walking around that bitch talking like you a gangster. Bitch, you a punk. Bitch, you gay. You like asshole, man. These niggas like asshole for real, man. Nigga will fuck the shit out you. Yeah, these niggas take their punks to their visits with their people, with their family.
Boozy is so pressed about Dwayne Wade's daughter, Zaya. But yeah, did you guys know that Boozy literally threatened to kill his daughter? Yes, he threatened to kill his daughter, and he called his daughter a little bitch. Now, here's a quick backstory. If you guys didn't know, Little Boozy has 8 baby mamas, but 8 different women. And basically, he doesn't like one of his baby mamas. He can't stand one of his baby mamas at all. He actually despises her. He says that she's a loser, she's an idiot, she's a whore, a whole bunch of extra shit. But he hates her. So long story short, one of Lil Boosie's baby mamas basically went on Instagram Live, and she revealed a recorded phone call that she had with Lil Boosie. And this is what Lil Boosie had to say about his baby mama and his own daughter. Y'all sure Lil Boosie be out here speaking facts? Y'all sure Lil Boosie is the right person to be asking for parenting advice? Because y'all are gonna have to explain to me why y'all stand by Boosie and agree with Boosie. Like, don't get me wrong, you can disagree with certain things that Boosie has done and, you know, still agree with some of the things he said. But let me go further into this. Did you guys know that Boosie also, basically 2 years ago, when his son turned 13, when his son turned 12, actually, when his son turned 12 or 13, he put up a post on Instagram that read this. So 2 years ago, Boosie was wishing his 13-year-old son a happy birthday, and basically the caption read, "Happy G-Day, Lil Tootie." His son's name is Tootie, by the way. "Happy G-Day, Tootie. Love you with all my heart. Love, Pops. See you tomorrow. Got a bag for you and a bad bitch to give you some head. You always know how I do." He said, and I quote, now that you're old enough, blase, I'm gonna go get you a bad bitch to go get you some tops, some heads in celebration for him being now 13 or whatever. Like what sense does that make? Like, that's disgusting and that's horrible. And that like, you can already see that Boosie is not already there. Like, Boosie has a lot of screws missing. Little Boosie has the nerve to sit up here and say fuck shit about Dwayne Wade and saying, oh, you wrong for that, you're disgusting, you're nasty as hell. But Boosie is the same man who literally said that he's proud of his son for finally getting head. Like, he was like, oh yeah, my son got head before. Like, he was proud as fuck of his son. It's just like, it's funny how y'all say y'all don't want sexuality being pushed on children. Children don't know who they are yet. But yeah, you got parents out here putting t-shirts on their sons that say chick magnet. You got little girls out here wearing shirts that say born to shop and say daddy paid for it. Let's be real here. What's really being pushed on a lot of y'all? Like, a lot of people want to sit up here and say, oh, being transgender is this, or it's being wrong. It's pushing this narrative on children. But a lot of you guys don't realize, if you guys actually read up on these things and looked up these things and tried to understand these things, we would grow as a people. And this is why I always say that black people don't deserve equal rights. This is like my new saying. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day. Black people don't deserve equal rights. People of color don't deserve equal rights. People who don't agree with the LGBTQ community don't deserve equal rights. People who don't agree with the trans community don't deserve equal rights. Because here's my thing. People say, oh, everyone deserves to be treated equally. Oh, really? Okay, well, why do you have a problem with so-and-so or this? And people want to say, oh, well, okay, yeah, I don't agree with it, but I don't have a problem with it. Okay, cool. Well, if a white person said, I don't agree with black men, going around sagging their pants because they're black and they should stay in their place, but I don't have a problem with black people. I have a black friend. Like, come on now. Like, I understand race and sexuality are very different, and people get very upset whenever I compare the two, but oppression is oppression. And I know a lot of people are going to turn this into a whole, well, at the end of the day, don't compare the two. Don't compare my race to, no abomination. Or here's the thing, though. All oppression is still oppression. The only reason a lot of people have a problem with the LGBTQIA plus community is just the simple fact that a lot of you guys were told and taught that it wasn't okay. I.e. the book, the Bible, the book that for some reason was written 1 billion years ago, and a lot of people still abide by it. It's just like, think for yourself, in my opinion, and if you really want equal rights, you would want equal rights for everybody. What's the point of saying I want equal rights, but say that you don't care for that community or this community, or you don't give a fuck about that community, or you don't support that community? And it's like, you don't have to support it, but at least be respectful enough to be open and respecting to your kids who want to come out to you. And long story short, I know a lot of people who have literally been fucked up by their parents. I'm one of the people who have been fucked up by their parents, and I grew up not feeling like I could indulge and speak to my parents and tell them about my personal life and tell them what's going on in school because I didn't feel comfortable. A lot of y'all watching this, I can speak for a lot of y'all, don't feel comfortable talking to your parents. Some of y'all are still young, and some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all were young once, and y'all are probably were there at one point. Or even if you were close to your mom, you probably weren't close to your dad. If you're close to your dad, you probably weren't close to your mom. Like, or for example, like when you had aunts or grandma or grandpa who want to talk to you about your personal life, you didn't feel comfortable. You felt like you were just iffy about it for the simple fact of you were scared of being shunned or judged. A lot of times people don't open up to people that they're scared to be judged by. And like Dwayne Wade said in this interview, his son who is now his daughter, Zaya, she felt so comfortable to come up to him and say, I don't think I'm gay. Like, I like boys, but I'm transgender. Like, I feel trans. I did research and I feel trans, because that's how it started. Zaya said she did research and she felt as though she was trans. That's just what it was to her. That's what she resonated with. And for a lot of people saying, well, how did she know he's trans? Well, let me ask you a question. How did you know you were straight? For all my men out there who are straight, let me ask you a question. How did you know you were straight at 9 years old? How did you know you wanted to see boobies and date a girl at 9? For all my straight women out there, how did you know that you liked men? How did you know that you wanted to date a man? Oh, you just knew? Oh, that's just what it is? Exactly. So how is it that someone at 12 can't decipher whether or not they're trans? Believe it or not, a lot of people out there were dating and fucking at literally the age of 8, 9, fucking 10 years old. And it's crazy, and I don't think sexuality should be forced on children, but I keep the same energy on all outlets. Like, I feel like if you have a problem with people putting a transgender character, a transgender Barbie, because if you guys didn't know, there is a transgender Barbie now. If you have a problem with an openly gay character, a lesbian family being portrayed in a show, people say, oh, well, I don't want my kids asking certain questions. Well, isn't that your job as a parent? As a parent, it's your job to have difficult conversations. And this is why we have a lot of grown people out here doing fuck shit. You ever wondered why a lot of people, especially parents, y'all ever wondered why your young teenager goes out in the world doing fuck shit, like having bad spending habits or making bad decisions with men, or, you know, like making bad relationship decisions, like going out here being a class clown? Like, you're not teaching your kids anything. You're not having difficult conversations with your kids. People just expect to beat the fuck out of their kids and expect their kids to just tighten up and listen. And that's the problem. A lot of people are saying shit like, oh, well, you know, you're a child under my roof. I don't expect you to be gay or straight. Be a child. Well, okay, cool. But what you are teaching your child is repress myself until I'm able to do it. Repress my sexuality because it makes you uncomfortable. So I should repress it. So that's why you have a lot of, you know, DL women and DL men out here, you know, doing like a lot of toxic things, being scared for their lives. Like just the other day, a DL man literally killed a woman. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys heard about that story, but basically a woman walked into a man, the hometown drug dealer, the hometown gangbanger, and basically she walked in on him fucking another man. And guess what? She went around telling everybody that he was gay, and then she went on Instagram trying to record and say, "Oh yeah, he is. I'm outing him right now. I'm exposing him." And guess what? That DL man allegedly killed her ass because she ended up dying 2 days later in a drive-by. Now, you explain to me how somebody repressing their sexuality isn't toxic. A lot of y'all say, "Oh well, you know, you shouldn't. You're just be a child. Just, you know, you don't have to worry about that now." Well, when you repress the thoughts, the things that are inside you, when you repress who you really are, that's not living. When you repress who you really are, that's literally taking your child on the wrong path, telling them to repress who they are. Why don't you tell your child to embrace who they are? And I find it funny how society loves to say, be yourself, be who you are, but be who you are, or be yourself. And if people don't love you, fuck him. Oh wait, but you should be yourself the way we want. Learn to accept people, especially parents. Learn to accept people for who they are. Learn to love people for who they are, not what you think they should be. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Parents, people who have a problem with this, parents who have a problem with their children being LGBTQ+, learn to love people for who they are, not what you think they should be. And that's the problem with a lot of parents. A lot of y'all don't want to have these difficult conversations. A lot of you guys don't want to be accepting of your children. And that's why when your children grow up, they end up being toxic people. They end up being liars and frauds. Like, they end up resulting in the drugs and alcohol. And let me ask y'all an honest question. Don't y'all think that Dwayne Wade would be in some shit if he was out here beating the fuck out of his son, like a lot of these male rappers do? A lot of black parents do. A lot of parents of color do. Like, I know there's one girl who's Puerto Rican who didn't even want to tell her fucking parents that she was fucking gay because they like, when she did tell them, they ended up telling her that she had the devil in her. Like, what? They had the devil, like she needed fixing. Like she did something wrong. Like, oh, her parents are basically telling her that they did something wrong as parents. And that hurt her feelings because she didn't expect the people that loved her unconditionally to treat her differently just because of her sexuality. And it's a little bit sad and it's a little bit crazy. And it just goes to show you that we have a lot of work to do as a society because, you know, social media is still fairly new. You know, social media has only been around for like at least, you know, like 15, 16 years. Like, that's how propping social media has been. And that's not a long time. Like, it hasn't even been 20 years yet. So we need a lot of time people to still get used to a lot of these things. So please be mindful that when you accept your kid for who they are, it's the most loving, most overwhelming thing ever when you accept your kids for who they are instead of you trying to paint them as something that you want them to be. And it's crazy because a lot of people are sitting up here saying, well, if my son ended up like this, or I'm taking away their phone, or I'm going to beat it out of them. Like, I knew one girl who literally said that if her son turned out as gay or her son turned out as transgender, she'd beat the fuck out of her son until it got out of him. What? I'm sorry, what? What? You're going to beat your child just because they feel something on the inside? You want your child to repress everything. See, this is the problem. This is why we have a lot of people who have terrible anxiety. This is why we have a lot of people who are depressed, because they never felt embraced for who they really are. Because people are out here judging them and criticizing them at an early age. So it's instilled in them to repress everything. That's why we got so many people out here repressing anger, not being open-minded, not being. That's why we got men out here who aren't being open. There are literally men out here who feel like it's too sensitive to open up and cry. Like, there are men who think it's sensitive to open up to their loved one or to someone they're in a relationship with, just because, oh, men shouldn't do that. Men shouldn't do that. Are y'all sure sexuality is being forced on children and it's not toxic masculinity? It was the same thing with Little Pump. Like, if you guys didn't know, Little Pump literally wore a crop top, like, just to be funny. And a lot of people took it to heart. A lot of people were just like, see, this is the media with an agenda. This is the media with the agenda. They're trying to turn other people gay, bi. It's just like, so basically you're upset because your child is not conforming to the things that you want. Basically, you want people to be the vision that you want to see. And that's my problem with a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to straight up say, oh, I'm just transphobic, or I'm just homophobic. Like, if we have more people say that, then it would be like, it would be so much easier, like, if you just admitted it. It's the same thing with racist. Like, with me, I like my racist, okay? I like my racist seasoned with a little bit of cracker and with a little bit of salt and pepper. I like them flat out racist. I like them open and in my face. Like, don't just be like, oh, I don't have a problem with black people or anything, but I think blacks are so, like, you see where I'm coming from here? Like, just be upfront about it. Like, don't try to be like, oh, like, just because you're afraid of scrutiny. Like, that's a problem. A lot of people don't admit it because they're afraid of scrutiny. But anyways, let me get right on to Lil Boosie real quick. It's funny how Lil Boosie is so obsessed with something that has no effect on his life. It's funny how Boosie and a lot of other rappers and a lot of entertainers are so obsessed and so pressed about this. But believe it or not, a lot of them never have the same energy when it comes to young black girls that be missing in Atlanta. There's over 300 young girls of color who are missing in Atlanta, but no one's really talking about it. There's hundreds of girls that are missing all over the world, especially on the West Coast in LA. There's a lot of girls missing in Ohio, in San Antonio. There's a lot of girls missing in places like Detroit. There's a lot of girls missing in Chicago. There's a lot of girls missing in Delaware. There's a lot of girls missing in Alabama, but no one's really talking about it. And it's funny how a lot of people have all this energy for Dwayne Wade and his son, but no one has the same energy for other issues. You know, these same male rappers that a lot of you guys are looking up to and saying, nah, I agree, I stand with him, and that's why he's one of the realest. These people don't even fucking speak on issues that really matter, but they're speaking on issues that don't even affect their life, and they're speaking on the issue of they don't want men being demasculated. It's just like, but where's this energy for other social issues? Boosie uses his platform to speak on so many other things like Gayle King and anything that involves black men, but he doesn't talk about things that affect black women. He doesn't talk about things that affect women in general. He doesn't talk about unequal pay in the workplace for women. He doesn't talk about hair discrimination that affects a lot of young people. He doesn't talk about the fact that a young boy couldn't walk across stage for graduation simply because he had locks. He didn't talk about the fact that a young black girl was kicked out of school because she had box braids. Where's the same energy for other issues? So you see where I'm coming from when I say y'all gotta watch out for who y'all stand with and stand by. Some of y'all listening to this probably didn't even know that Boosie was out here saying that he wanted to kill his daughter because he can't stand his baby mama. Called her a bitch and everything, saying he was gonna take her out the will. Where's all this energy? Where's all this energy for Boosie when he doesn't? Where's all this energy for all these male entertainers who don't speak on real issues? You know, even Tyrese had a lot to fucking say, and it's just like, it's funny how you have a lot to say about a black man who's Dwayne Wade, about how, the way he's raising his now daughter. But a lot of a lot of people on social media were clowning you and blasting you and saying fuck shit about you publicly on Instagram when you were crying going through your whole, custody situation. But you have so much to say. You want to jump on the bandwagon. It's just insane. And don't get me wrong, people are allowed to give their opinions. Y'all are 100% allowed to give y'all opinions. And I will never say y'all don't have a right to give y'all opinions. Y'all have every right to give y'all opinions, because guess what? They went public with it. They didn't have to go public with it. They could have kept that shit in the home. And don't get me wrong, I see where people are coming from when they say they feel like Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle are too open about this. I agree. They're a little bit too open about this, but I'm glad that they could love their son publicly and privately. Because what's the life to live if your child only feels like you love them only in private? Now, here's the thing. He's loud and proud and proudly accepting his now daughter. Loudly and proudly accepting his daughter. And the world has a problem with it. But if Dwayne Wade was out here beating his son, a lot of things happen. Like, a lot of girls who come out as gay, a lot of boys who come out as gay, like a lot of people who come out as trans to their parents are getting beat up, kicked out. They're being told, no, you going to church. We're going to suck it out of you. I know a girl who told me that she knows that her brother is gay. And basically her mom literally said, oh, nah, we need to get that out of you. You got that devil in you. Like, I don't know where I went wrong. We need to fix it. Oh, no. Like, it's just like, but how does that affect your life that somebody feels something on the inside? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And people are allowed to give their opinion. But at the same time, what's with the dragging Dwayne Wade and dragging Gabrielle Union? What's with that? What's with the talking about other people's kids and going in on them? Like, you got people literally in Dwayne Wade's children. Zaire, his other son, and his other son Xavier. People are in their comment section saying, hey, what's going on with your brother? Or, oh, leave your brother dick alone. Or, I wonder what happened to your brother. You're a ball. Because if you guys didn't know, Dwayne Wade's son are ball players. They're like, oh, wow, y'all are ball players. Y'all are matching. Y'all turned out fine. I wonder what happened to the youngest, Zaire. I wonder what happened to him. Like, it's just like, it's disgusting how people are just taking the opportunity to be so openly transphobic. And it's perfectly fine if you don't agree with the lifestyle and you think that it's unnatural. It's fine. You know, the world still has a lot to do. But best believe that you're not going to go out here making assumptions just because the world told you that it's not okay. Just because a book told you, like, how to feel about it. Think for yourself. Do research. Stop with the, oh, no, that's just disgusting. That's weird. That's weird. At one point, white people felt that way about black people. Oh, no, they're disgusting. They're weird. They can't read. Guess what? With all the black representation that's out now a lot of white people love black people, and some of them are open about loving black culture. Back then, we weren't so fortunate. That's why there was so many things in propaganda to tear this down. There were so many outlets to tear down black people and tear down people of color for being ignorant, nasty, dirty, having too many kids, being on government. There was so much propaganda that showed that. And then there was white people who taught that bullshit to the next generation, then they taught it to the next generation, then the next generation, and it continued into something that turned into institutionalized racism and systematic racism and modern day slavery. Now, long story short, a lot of people have publicly disapproved and spoken on how being trans is disgusting. What does that say about other young kids out there? What about the other 9, 10, 11-year-olds who are on Instagram seeing all this shit go down? They're going to be like, oh, wow, Boozy said it's wrong, so I agree with him. Boozy is right. It is wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. At 12 years old, I guess it is kind of extreme to transition. In my opinion, I feel like maybe they should have waited till Zaya was at least 16 years old for the transitioning pills and but then again, that's not my kid. It's not my problem. It's not my kid, not my problem. It's not my teeny bopper, not my problem. So at the end of the day, for people saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do, well, guess what? Your opinion doesn't hold any weight because it's not your kid, so it's not your problem. You're open to say, oh, I don't agree with it, or I don't think this is okay. But with the whole, oh, Dwayne Wade is probably gay. He probably molested his son. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yes, y'all would be shocked at some of the shit I've read on social media. It's disgusting and horrifying. It's horrifying how a lot of people have so much to fucking say. But a lot of people, these are the same a lot of people who were mistreated and abused by their parents. Some of y'all are still going through trauma that your parents put y'all through. Some of y'all have horrible anxiety. Some of y'all have been diagnosed recently. Some of y'all have realized that y'all have so many problems. Some of y'all have problems taking constructive criticism. Some of y'all have problems opening up. Some of y'all have problems being nice to people. Some of y'all have problems basically just going out in public and like having fun. Some of y'all have problems being locked in. Like, some of y'all have so many mental problems that your parents put y'all through because your parents didn't love y'all unconditionally. And now that you see two black parents doing it, now this is unnatural. They're trying to tear down our black men and our people of color. They're feeding this to kids. Okay, let's just be very clear. Just because a kid sees another gay kid, that's not going to make them want to be that too. Like y'all said, a kid doesn't know who they are yet. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, kids are impressionable and kids are like sponges. Well, that's the parent's job to instill and to inform their kid about loving people for who they are. If we had more parents who were telling their kids you can have your opinion, but accept people and love people for who they are. And a man that's comfortable with himself and a woman that's comfortable with herself and her life and her sexuality is not going to allow someone to alter how she feels on the inside, because sexuality is how you feel on the inside. It's not what people think that you should be or what they think that you should look like. You know, you have people who are pansexual, asexual, people who are metrosexual, people who are bi-curious, so many things. But you got way too many people who are out here telling people, no, you got to be gay or straight. Being trans is wrong. It's disgusting. And that's why I was so fucking proud of Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union for being so open about this. And I was so proud of Zaya for publicly speaking. Like Zaya literally went on Dwayne Wade's Instagram to like speak on how she felt and how she felt like she needs to love who she is and be who she wants to be and who she feels like she's comfortable being without, you know, the public scrutiny. And despite the public scrutiny, she's still gonna be who she is and love who she is. And this is why I always tell people, sometimes kids are the most peaceful people ever. Y'all ever sat in a room and spoke to kids? Kids are literally like the most peaceful, the least most judgmental. Like when kids are like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, that's when they're at their best. That's when they're the least most judgmental. That's when they're the kindest to everybody. But then once they get to like, you know, 9, 10, 11, that's when they become fucking judgmental, because a lot of stuff that they were taught as kids, a lot of the disgusting, hateful things that they were taught as kids, that's when it starts to simmer in. That's when they start to spill that onto the universe. And then that eventually shapes who they become. Zaya had 2 parents who instilled self-love, self-acceptance, loving each other, being positive into her. So that's what she's exuding out. She grew up with an environment of people who told her, love yourself, be who you are. Who cares what people think? Love who you are. It's all about how you feel on the inside. It's all about being happy. That's what Zaya was taught. And just because some of y'all weren't taught that, I don't think it's right to take that anger out on Gabrielle or Dwayne Wade. It's just not right. It's just out of pocket in general. And one thing that I really want everybody to get out of this entire podcast is just the simple fact of, it's okay to be different. And if people get represented more and got more representation, we would have a world of people who weren't so hateful and less confused. We have too many people out here who hate their identity. We have too many people out here. We have too many black girls who hate just being black because the world tells them that they're not enough. We have too many young black men who get told, oh, you know, you're not good enough because you're a statistic if you get your hair locked up, or you're a statistic if you know, don't have a job, or you don't go to college. Like, we have too many black men and too many black women being teared down. We have too many Latinos, people of color, people in general, like people who are too skinny, white, whatever you are, people who are too skinny, people who aren't tall, men who aren't tall enough. Like, we have too many people telling you, oh, you're not acceptable, or you're not enough because you're not the standard that society says you should be. We have too many people like that, way too many people like that, instilling into the world like that they're not good enough. Like, too many people are getting instilled into them that they're not good enough because the world told them they weren't good enough, because their parents didn't instill that self-worth or self-love into their kids. So now you got people like Boozy Badass who's out here saying fuck shit like this. His kids are still pretty young. Let's say his youngest child, I'm not sure how old his youngest child is, but let's say his youngest child comes out as trans, but can't come out to Boozy because Boozy's so damn hateful and so unaccepting of it. Imagine if your kid wanted to come out trans. And I want to ask everybody out there, DM me, email me, whatever, comment on a recent video. How would you feel if your child came out as trans? How would you feel if your child came out as gay? I remember I was talking to one of my friends, and she basically told me that she wouldn't want her son to be gay, only because of the simple fact of she doesn't want her son to feel oppression, because one, her son is black, and she wouldn't want her son to be gay and black because that's double oppression, and the world hates gay people and the world hates black people. And then I knew one person that told me they don't want their child to be influenced or around, you know, anything that's LGBTQ plus, because they don't want their child absorbing that. They don't want their child asking them crazy questions. One girl even said that her child was out here asking her crazy questions like, what's transgender? What's a vagina? But I'm just like, but you had a kid though. Like, if you have a problem with your child asking you certain questions, then don't be a parent. You're a parent because you're your child's first teacher. You know why you're a parent? You're a parent because you wanted to give life to someone, because you feel like you have enough life experience to bring somebody else into this world. You're raising the newer generation. And why are we raising the newer generation to be hateful and shunful? Like, this is why I'm so proud of the way social media has progressed, because now people have representation. We don't have to rely on magazines or the television anymore to get representation. Now we can do research on Google and on social media and see that there's other people that look like us. Dark-skinned girls, like, who grew up not loving their skin. At one point, when you didn't love your skin, you came across social media. You found out about colorism. You found out that there were other girls who looked like you and y'all had the same stories. And now you embrace your skin color problems. You embrace your natural hair because there's other people who had the same stories as you and now want to love themselves more. Black men. Like, you have rappers who came out of the slums just like you. Like, you have rappers who came up from the same circumstances as you, and now they have platforms to make money, travel the world, and take care of their family. Representation matters. And why do people get so upset at Zaya? Why do people get so upset at Sesame Street? Because if you guys didn't know, Sesame Street is going to be, you know, basically going to be featuring their first ever openly gay character. And then Sesame Street is also, not Sesame Street, My Little Pony's also coming out with a transgender pony. Like, it's just so much that social media has offered. And even though it's a curse, it's also a blessing in disguise, because it's really teaching us how much work we have to do as a community and how much we have to work to do as just people in general. So, like I said, love people for who they are, not what you think they should be. Because society always says, be yourself, but then turns around and says, oh, but you should be yourself that way. Like, how is that? Like, what's the point of living if you have to live a lie? And I'm tired of the parents saying, well, you're young, you should repress it, or save it till you're 18. When you're 18, get out of my house, you can do what you want. Like, what? You're instilling into your child to repress everything until they're old enough. And then when they're old enough, they don't know how to live loud and proud because your ass told them, oh, they have to repress it because it makes you uncomfortable. Like, what? Like, some people have to actually listen to what they're saying. And this is why I said, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, black people, people of color, if you're not accepting of other minority groups or other groups who are oppressed, you don't deserve equal rights. You don't deserve equal rights. I said what I say. You don't deserve equal rights because you don't want equal rights for everybody. You want people to love you as you are, but you won't love everybody else as they are. What sense does that make? So, like I said, if you have a problem with Zaya, I respect it. I agree. I don't agree. We can agree, disagree. I agree that we can agree to disagree. That's what I can say. I agree that we can agree to disagree if you have a problem with this. And I respect that you probably feel like he's too young, because I'm not gonna lie, I wish Zaya was a little bit older so that she could find out who she is. Because by the time when you're 12, you don't know who you are. When I was 12, I wanted tattoos. I wanted tattoos on my face, more specifically. I wanted a face tat. A tattoo on my fucking amazing face. Like, I could never, like, now being the age that I am, but like at 12, you don't know who you are. But at 12, there's certain things that you feel on the inside that you always know. Like, some of y'all who were straight, you've always known you were straight. Some of y'all who were trans, you've always known you were trans. Like, some of you guys who, like, women out there who were lesbians, you've always known. Like, it's always been something inside of you. You've always felt like what's inside is what matters. You've always felt it. No one can feel what's inside. No one can tell you who you are because you know what's inside of you. So, at the end of the day, I respect that people are going to have their opinions and are going to trash Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. I respect it because they're the ones who went public with it. And in my opinion, if they want to go public with it, they got to be ready for all the backlash to come with. They got to be ready for all the smoke. Because the world is a scary place and the world is full of opinions. And now we live in a world of social media where everyone who has a Twitter account thinks that they can give an opinion. And it's crazy because so many people talking the most shit are the people who literally have no profile. Like, I find that very annoying. This is my thoughts. People who have, oh shit, I hit the mic. People who have private pages shouldn't be allowed to make public comments. Because for a lot of y'all who are the boldest bitches, some of y'all be hiding under accounts that be having 78 followers, following 3,000 people with SpongeBob or Meg Thee Stallion or Nicki Minaj as your Avi. Like, come out, bitch. Come out and play, bitch. I want to fight. So this is what I gotta say, and then I'm done talking. It's Dwayne and Gabrielle's child. They love their child unconditionally. He'd be damned. Y'all would condemn him if he was beating the fuck out of his son, beating his son and kicking his son out at 12. Y'all would despise Dwayne for doing that. But now that he's openly embracing his daughter, Zaya, y'all have a problem. Maybe some of y'all should reevaluate your mental health. Maybe some of you guys should reevaluate your lives and understand that toxic masculinity and toxic femininity has been forced on people. You have girls out here thinking, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to play sports because that's what dykes do, or that's what boys do." You have young boys out there who think that if they play with dolls or if they ride around in a pink car or wearing pink shoes, oh no, that's too gay. Oh no, I can't do that. You literally have straight men who are out here thinking that just because they have a skincare routine, it makes them gay. Like you see where I'm coming from here? I think the fact that people are trans is the last of y'all worries. I think people should worry about their internalized, instilled issues that their toxic, fucked up ass parents have instilled into them. Maybe open up your mind a little bit. Do some research, read into it, understand sexuality more. Sexuality is more than just, oh, gay, straight, or like some of y'all think that Zaya should just choose between being gay or being straight, like, and he should just accept just his own gender. Like, there's things like agender. There's so many things. Like, people can cross dress, do what the fuck they want. And I hope one day we live in a world where people are able to openly live loud and proud and accept themselves for who they are and what's inside. But unfortunately, now is not the time. We have a lot of work to do, and maybe it's going to take about 300 years when we're all long gone for people to finally embrace and accept people for who they are. Mental health is the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody, and a lot of people are just not talking about it. Being transgender ain't nothing new. It has nothing to do with social media. It's been around for a very long time. Very long time. A very long time. And please, y'all, stop throwing out the whole something must have happened to Zaya when she was young for her to think this way. Please stop it. Please stop it. It's disgusting and it's super distasteful that people try to downplay what's inside of people with, oh, something must have happened to you. Just because you can't relate to it, just because you can't connect to it, that doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because white people can't connect to some of y'all people of color, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the way your skin or the way your features look, right? Like I said, all oppression is still oppression, and it's all tied. All these rules, all these gender rules, all these code rules, all these, oh, well, technically, biologically, the rules of life is men and women procreate. A woman should be a woman and a man should be a man, and the way the movement of life is to procreate. Who said that? Who said that in my Portia voice? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that a woman's role in life is to procreate? First of all, not all women have kids. Not all women have children. Not all women want to date a man and have a children with a man. Like, let's just be very clear. Not everybody wants to have fucking kids. Stop with the point of life is to procreate. Says who? Says who? Oh, says the book. Oh, says biology. Okay. Well, who wrote that shit? Don't worry, bitch. I'll wait. Time's up, bitch. You can't name who wrote these books and these rules that y'all follow so much. So I'm a firm believer in embracing and accepting everybody for what's inside of who they are. So before you want to judge and say, oh, no, I don't like that. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're this. Oh, you're trans. Oh, no, you're not. You're just confused. Stop with the whole you're confused bullshit. Stop. It's weird. It's terrifying. And I don't want to see anybody criticizing and saying something negative unless you have parents that full-heartedly accepted you for who you were. Some of y'all are out here going for majors. Some of y'all out here planning on going to college. Some of y'all don't even want to go. Some of y'all out here being pressured into majoring into something that you don't like because your parents or whoever your guardian is doesn't approve of your passion. They want you to do something that's worth money. Some of y'all are in school for money. For money. You know how fucking toxic that is? Some of y'all are literally some of y'all are literally like been conditioned your whole life to stay in a toxic relationship because, oh, you know, a man and a woman need to raise a child. Some of y'all have children and feel the need to stay with your significant other just because, oh yeah, well, my parents stay together, so maybe I should stay together. Or, you know, my parents are, you know, been married for like 85 years, so, you know, I want to hold it together. I don't want to be a single mom. Like, some of y'all are so stuck in y'all ways when it comes to mental health that y'all don't even realize that some of you guys have been instilled to hate people for being different from you. Don't fall into the trap. Think for yourself. Don't think based off of a book. Don't let media dictate your thoughts. Accept people for wanting to live their best lives. I mean, at the end of the day, you feel some type of way about him wanting to change his gender. Okay, cool. I understand that. But to go in on him and say he's confused, hey, he is 12 years old. He is young. You don't know who you are. But one thing everyone knows by the time they're 12 is their sexuality, who they are, and what they feel on the inside. Or if they don't, they always knew something was there on the inside, but they just couldn't paint it out yet. He's been able to call it out and point it out early on. And if he wants to transition, Zaya, I support you. I support anyone that wants to do what the fuck they want with their life. I'm an accepting person. That's why when I meet people are very comfortable talking to me. I've had instances where I've met people and they've literally told me their whole life story. Told me their whole life story, their sexuality, and more. Like what they're into. Like it's just so much shit. Like people just open up to me easier because I'm someone that's not going to criticize you. And that's a beautiful thing. I love the fact that when I meet people in general, like when I meet people in life, when I meet subscribers and I have like 5-hour conversations when meeting them in person that they're willing to tell me their whole lives because they know I'm not going to criticize. You got other people when you tell them about your personal life, they're like, ugh, or that's weird, or that's dumb. Like, what the fuck? Like, why can't y'all just accept people for who the fuck they are on the inside? And that's the thing. That's the thing. Some of y'all can't even tell y'all parents shit because some of y'all parents are trash. Some of y'all, or moms or dad or whoever in your family is trash. Some of y'all can't tell certain people in your family shit because some of them are garbage. Like, they're so judgmental that you don't even feel comfortable opening up because you know that they're gonna judge you. Like, that's beautiful that Zaya felt comfortable to open up to her parents. But I'm done talking here. I'm done talking. I've been sitting here for a long ass fucking time, and I'm ready to move the fuck on and take my ass to fucking sleep. So if you guys enjoyed today's podcast, Time Out with Troyce, shout out to everybody listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're on. Shout out to all y'all. Thank you guys for listening so much. Thank you guys for all the love and support. If you guys are interested in donating to my Patreon, please be sure to download the Patreon app and type in Troyce TV and I'll pop up. It's as low as $2. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, please do that. I would appreciate that very, very much. Please follow me on Instagram. I need my followers on Instagram. Okay. That's where you guys can keep updated with me and everything. Make sure you guys subscribe to both my YouTube channels. Also, make sure you guys learn to accept people for who they are, love people for who they are, because the one thing that's so important in life is that you just gotta understand that there's certain things that are just out of your control. And before you decide, oh, I don't agree with that, that's disgusting, that's distasteful, why don't you just try to understand where that person's coming from? Try to decipher their issues and try to understand. Even if you don't agree with the lifestyle, try to understand why they feel that way. Instead of saying, nope, I don't want to hear, I don't want to understand. Basically, you're just saying that you want to stay ignorant. Like, it's hard for some people to think outside the block. Like, I know some people like to say think outside the box. A lot of people don't know how to think outside the block. Some people grew up with their religion. That's all they've ever known. Some people grew up with that hood, South Side mentality, or that nasty, closed-minded Caribbean mentality, or that, closed-minded conservative mentality, and they don't know nothing else. They don't want to look at people's side. They don't want to look at nothing. So try to see where people are coming from. Try to be more perceptive of people's issues, and try to be open-minded with, oh, okay, I don't understand it, but, I'm willing to understand, break it down to me. I'm willing to hear you out. Why don't y'all want to hear people out? But anyways, I'm getting too deep into this. This shit is long as hell. And yeah, thank you guys for listening to Time Out with Troyce. That was that for today's podcast. And yeah, that's that. Time out is over. I'm out.